Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Christ Central Daily Devotional. I'm Fiona, and today I'm going to be reading Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not be in want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He restores my soul. He guides me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. This is probably the most beautiful and well-known psalm, and most people have either sung it in school assemblies or heard it read out at funerals. It offers huge amounts of comfort in times of grief and struggle. Even if you aren't a believer, there's peace in hearing that even in the depth of misery, a higher being is walking alongside you and leading you to still waters. I first heard this psalm when I was 21 years old and was literally about to have my first dose of chemotherapy. I was too old to have my parents with me in hospital, and yet too young to have a husband to go through the journey with me. So I felt very alone and I was very scared. I was, however, old enough and aware enough to realise that I might not be one of the lucky ones to survive cancer, and I might well realistically die. So when I received Psalm 23 on little gift cards sent to me in hospital, I really was walking through the valley of the shadow of death. When I read that, I knew I didn't have to fear, and that whatever happened, God would be with me every step of the way. And it was a huge relief as well as a comfort. This morning, however, what I'd like us to think about is the beginning of the psalm and how, as Christians, we can take this opening line with us throughout our days. The Lord is my shepherd. As sheep, we can all help each other and look after each other, and all this is good. We can make meals, we can pray for each other, we can come alongside each other, we can go for walks, we can make phone calls, we can support each other. But when the wolf attacks, it's a shepherd we need to herd us and to protect us. We can't do it ourselves. And we're told clearly here that the Lord is our shepherd. The Lord is my shepherd. The second part of the line is, I shall not be in want. The reality is that God knows what we need. He provides for our needs, even the things we don't actually know we need. If we think of all the things we have asked for but haven't received, and yet later down the line we realise that actually it wouldn't have been the best thing for us, we do realise the depth of love and concern our God, our shepherd, has for each and every one of us and for our well-being. As this is such a well-known and treasured psalm, I wanted to know what it meant to other people. And who better to ask than our church elders, our shepherds here on earth. So I'm now going to read out to you what Psalm 23 means to Guy, means to Al, and means to Mark. So this is Guy. Psalm 23 was the first passage of the Bible I learnt off by heart, probably the only one, when I was at primary school. I think it was for a badge for cubs. Back then, it made me think of David, who I imagined would be about my age, fighting off lions and bears to protect his sheep. As an adult, I've mostly associated it with times of sadness and difficulty, a comforting psalm, a good funeral go-to. But I'm always struck when I read it and get past the valley of the shadow of death, how much victory and celebration is in it. It's a real message of the presence of Jesus. In particular, the words banquet, goodness, mercy, cup overflows, and dwell in the house of the Lord forever. This guy. This is what Al had to say. Psalm 23 and the Lord's Prayer are often quoted as supreme examples of beauty, elegance, profundity, and brevity. Short enough to memorize even for a goldfish, and deep enough to swim in throughout a long life. They continue to work that way in my life. But how about you guys? And this is from Mark. Whenever I read this psalm, I first can't help singing it in my head because I think I've sung it to death in school assemblies. What's interesting about singing it back then was that the words had little or no meaning. Now, though, these words are so encouraging because whether I like it or not, I serve a God who knows what's best for me and knows what I need. The word want stands out for me because there are many things I want, but the Lord knows what I need. One of the many things that our Western million miles an hour busy culture doesn't speak much about is resting and making it part of life. I, like many of us, am a busy person. One of the biggest challenges for me is to put down everything and, as it were, lie down in green pastures and be led beside still waters. This is what I need. What I find fascinating about these opening verses, without wishing to read too much into it, is the order of events. Firstly, I need to know in my head that Jesus knows what I need, and I won't go without. Secondly, if I know this, I should relax and do what my shepherd needs me to do. He makes me lie down in green pastures. This appears to be something that is essential, and it's good for me. And thirdly, Jesus goes ahead of me, and I follow him to a place of calm and refreshing. I imagine Jesus will meet me there. These three things result in a restoration and the ability to make good decisions in the direction I should go. So in practice, what does this mean for me? My most regular request of God is that I make wise decisions. In order to do this, I must look to my shepherd who makes me do things, have rest in him, and leads me to a place of rest with him. In order to function well, in doing so, walk on the right path. This is great. But why? Because it means I get to put things down, listen to the Lord, be restored in him, and do as I feel led by the Lord, rather than let life take control of what I do. There is no shame in finding a place of refuge to spend time with Jesus. How can you do this if every hour of every day is taken up with stuff? Go to your green pasture and still water and allow life to return to you for his name's sake. I want to end by piggybacking on Mark's words, and in fact, Will Hepburn, when he once said, "There is freedom in subservience." Today, let's find those green pastures and quiet waters. Hand over our struggles and our busyness to our great shepherd, and let's find peace in him today. Thank you very much for listening, and thank you, elders, for contributing. Have a lovely day.